Help out the Dr.Wily channel by clicking the sponsor button below. This way you can financially support us and get some cool perks in the process. Overall, the developers of the Legend of Zelda series have a lot of fun making the games and coming up with new concepts. However, there was a time where they created something they would regret in the end. And as time went on, things only got worse. Many fans will instantly recognize it when they see it, and throughout the entire series, it's seen in the strangest places. I'm talking about the character Tingle, a person so weird that most fans don't even know what to think about him. He was first seen in Majora's Mask as the son of the Swamp Tourist Center guide obsessed with fairies. He's 35 years old and claims to be the reincarnation of a fairy. Suspended by a balloon in the air, he uses his vantage point to plot maps of Termina, which Link is able to purchase. Now, Kalulimpa are Tingle's magic words which he created. It's a romanization of Kuro Kuro Impa, the sound that Japanese people make when doing the Kuko sign, a circle motion of the index finger at the ear or side of the head that signifies that a person is crazy. Now, this game is already quite different from the normal Zelda experience. This time it's a time loop, it's a completely different world and villain, and some completely new and interesting characters were introduced. So while Tingle is certainly a strange character, it does fit with this different kind of Zelda title. However, after they made this character, things started to change, because they seemed to regret it all. When people saw this character for the first time in Majora's Mask and shortly after in the Oracle games, they certainly formed an opinion on him. Tingle, along with Navi, became one of Nintendo's most widely criticized characters ever in the history of the company. IGN editors particularly criticized Tingle for his role in The Wind Waker, for leading Link through many tedious fetch quests. And when Twilight Princess was created, IGN hoped that Shigeru Miyamoto and IG Aonuma wouldn't include the character, saying, "We're not going to stand for him in another Zelda game." So some people didn't want to see him again, and even Nintendo was basically done with him in an incredibly short time. He was seen in a number of titles like The Wind Waker, Four Swords and more, but never played a huge role. And there was only one reason why he even kept popping up, either in the background with the plushie scene in Skyward Sword, or his big role in The Wind Waker, because most criticism of the character comes from Western gamers. But in Japan, Tingle has a huge following, which resulted in the development of several spin-off games featuring him as the main character. Think of games like freshly picked Tingle's Rosy Rupee Land and Tingle's Balloon Fight DS. Both of these titles were so weird and different compared to your normal run-of-the-mill Zelda title. All the mechanics, ideas behind it, characters seen in it, and entire story are so far removed from the Zelda universe that it's not even connected. Games like Rosy Rupee Land were a commercial success in Japan, selling over 234,000 units by the end of 2007. Although, to be honest, 234,000 sales is nothing for Nintendo compared to what most serious games get. However, it didn't end here, because they also wanted to make a horror game using this strange character. News of this cancelled project came from Nintendo producer Kensake Tanaba, who said the following while speaking in an interview with Kotaku. Looking back 8 years ago, we were developing a horror game with fan pull that starred Tingle as the main character, but that project was cancelled due to a variety of reasons. Now, what the plan was for this title and why they ended up getting rid of the whole concept is unknown. But as you can see, Nintendo ended up doing more with him than they wanted, thanks to his popularity in Japan. However, what was the idea behind this character? Majora's Mask was quite a strange game after all, so how did they come up with this? Well, when Kotaku had an interview with Aonuma around the release of Majora's Mask 3DS, a lot of questions were answered. He said the following: "I guess when it comes to the heart of the character, there's a little bit of a gag kind of feeling to it. The way the design of the character started is that we needed to think about how the player would get access to maps in this game. Of course, you could go with a situation where, as soon as you're in the area, you would just open up your map and it fills it in for you. But we wanted to do something a little bit different. So we thought, what if you had to buy maps? But then suddenly we needed a character that you would be buying them from. We ultimately ended up with a character that had a little bit of humor to him that came from thinking of, what sort of person would sell a map? This kind of started with the following. He makes a map by floating through the air so that he can see the contours of the land and draw them. But as soon as we got that far in the process, we realized anybody that would fly through the air making a map has got to be a really weird person. So at that point we decided, okay, we'll go with this and make him a really weird guy. And that's how Tingle was born. Overall, an extremely specific scenario led to his creation. He seems different and is pretty much portrayed as a man-child, which is clearly extremely odd. But they also asked something else in the interview. Why does Tingle dress up as a fairy, and where did that come from? Well, Ayanuma continued. So when we made the character, we had this notion that one of the ways he might be a little weird is that he had this idea that he never wanted to grow up. And so I think, to that extent, the clothes do fit his image. And the whole thing comes together as a very Peter Pan kind of visual. You know, if you think about it, it's this guy in his 30s in a green suit and is flying and never wants to grow up. It all sort of comes together around that. So, just like Link was inspired a bit by the whole Peter Pan story, the same happened here with this weirder character. Link is portrayed as the sane and logical version of Peter Pan who has a destiny to save the world, while Tingle is more the dark and mentally insane version of this story, an adult that wants to be a kid forever. But in the end, not a whole lot of people here in the West liked him, and he only became a hit in Japan. And so Nintendo tried to get rid of him, but on the other hand, couldn't, thanks to their own home country. Thanks to this, he was seen in recent releases like Zelda Breath of the Wild, where his outfit and an island based on him were seen. Even Hyrule Warriors had to give in at some point, because originally, during the development, some wanted to include Tingle as a playable character, but the idea was initially rejected by Ayanuma. However, later on, when the Majora's Mask DLC came out, he ended up in the game. So even when they don't really want it, he gets in no matter what. So this character will forever remain extremely weird, and certainly not one of Nintendo's favorites. Thanks for watching everybody, I hope you enjoyed. Be sure to become a sponsor of the channel to help us out. Also, I hope you enjoyed this video, give it a like, subscribe, and watch more.